Psychedelics are showing promise in treatment of multiple conditions: anxiety, depression, trauma, PTSD. I met up again with Brad Burge, who is with MAPS. That's the organization running the MDMA study I showed you a bit ago. About a year ago, they were midway through one of the trials, and we chatted then, so I wanted to get an update on how things are going. Brad, you and I got to talk a little over a year ago, and your organization was doing psychedelic treatments with some patients and moving into new phases. How's it going right now?
That's right. Terrific. We're actually on schedule for the last time we spoke. We were in phase 2 trials back then. Those are clinical trials with the FDA for MDMA-assisted psychotherapy for the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. We've now completed all of those phase 2 trials. There were 6 of them, and they were published. This, when was it? I guess it was in May in the Journal of Psychopharmacology. So we've got all of those cumulative results published. We found that 54% of the people who received just 2 or 3 sessions of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy, so over half, didn't have PTSD anymore after treatment, which is way better than just having their symptoms reduced, but actually not having PTSD anymore, and found that those symptoms, that those changes actually sustained for a year following. So based on those results, yeah.
Any adverse effects?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're definitely seeing side effects, but nothing unexpected. So side effects like anxiety, nausea, muscle tension, jaw clenching in particular, those kinds of things tend to happen when the drug's effects are working. Key thing to remember, though, of course, with this treatment, people only use it 2 or 3 times in a supervised setting in therapy. So those side effects go away when the drug effects wear off.
And you're now in phase 3, meaning you're going even wider?
That's right. So the phase 3 trials are the last phase that the FDA needs to see before deciding whether to approve a treatment. So these trials are going to enroll between 200 and 300 participants. We already have about 30 or 40 enrolled now. That's across about a dozen sites in the US, Canada, and Israel.
Medically, do you see this as being something that is visible in the near horizon?
Oh, very much so. We expect FDA approval, assuming those phase 3 trials go as planned, in 2021. So
really?
Absolutely, in just a couple of years. It's been 30, 40 years in the making, of course, but now we're really at that cusp. It'd be great for people to know about it now so it's not such a big surprise. We expect that MDMA will be available in clinics as soon as 2021 for people with PTSD, and maybe even before that through the FDA's expanded access program.
And would this be manufactured and administered by people who were screened or licensed? I mean, you know, you hear about things like Botox, where someone who otherwise did like orthopedics and suddenly they're giving Botox to people, but that doesn't make them an expert in it. Who would be doing this?
Yeah, so there's an actual training process. So it's a multi-step, in our case, 5-part training process for therapists. And they have to be credentialed, licensed therapists. They have to go through this training, which teaches them the principles and the practices behind MDMA-assisted psychotherapy. And then they have to be approved to actually receive and store and administer the drug itself.
You know, we have seen such an uphill fight for a long time, despite radically shifting public opinion on marijuana. You know, once this becomes a major part of the conversation, do you anticipate some hurdles legally?
There are going to be some challenges. Now, when the FDA decides that something's a medicine, the DEA has to acknowledge that, since they're both federal agencies. In order for MDMA to be available as a medicine, or psilocybin, or any other currently classified Schedule 1 drug, it has to be classified. In order for that to happen, there actually has to be action at every single state. Every single state needs to go through its own reclassifying process for that to happen. So those are going to be the main challenges once we get started, in addition to making sure that people receive insurance coverage for it.
Just one final note here. In this segment tonight, you've heard the word promising quite a bit, because many researchers think big things are ahead for psychedelics after 50 years wandering in the medical wilderness. But for now, they're illegal, and no major medical organization recommends treating yourself with these. So always, 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 always talk to your doctor about anything related to your physical or your mental health. We're back in a few minutes.